So I'm sure you've seen coordination come up as an argument for doing certain drills, but what does that actually mean? To give one particular example, you have your hopscotch ladder drills that are most often done off ice. Sometimes they'll be done out here. And most athletes are introduced to a ladder pretty early on. The main point that I've seen for its use is that it builds up your coordination. And no one really specifies what that means, because as far as I can tell, you're just getting better at doing hopscotch, instead of working on skills that are actually directly specific to your sport and that, mind you, also work on coordination. So my question once again is, well, what do you mean by coordination? Doesn't something as beginner friendly as the corkscrew have some coordination element? Doesn't something like the HG split squat have elements of coordination within it? Even if you're just on a gym machine, there's an element of coordination that has to play along with your body, because coordination is a very general term and you're not really specific enough with what the heck you're talking about. So as a player watching this, I give you permission, whenever you hear the coordination point come up, to ask your coach what they mean precisely by that. And if you're a coach watching this, I simply ask you to just be more specific with what you're talking about with the coordination thing, because there's coordination everywhere. There's coordination with the ladder specific drills, there's coordination with skating mechanics, there's coordination with basic gym exercises. All that I'm doing is pointing out a contradiction that I'm seeing with training. Everybody has a right to question their training. I feel like this deep dive is going to be shorter, but I don't know. Every time I think about that, it ends up going into a longer discussion or thought process that I have. But I've been seeing a lot that that the reason for doing certain exercises or drills is that it improves your coordination. And as you see right there, I have pretty decent coordination with the juggling. I'm not the world's best. I haven't juggled any more than 3 balls at once, but ever since basically practicing it for 2 months straight and then diving off of it for a long time, to even have somewhat good ability with juggling is it's a good sign that I still have skill with certain things that I do and that I'm not just talking out of my ass. But I can't say the same thing for that specific coordination argument. It really is a very generalized term, and honestly everything has coordination to it. And like, let me just go into all the examples. This was also briefly discussed in my passing reception video, although it wasn't with this specific detail of coordination. I just called it timing, which when you're receiving passes, by the way, there is a coordination, there is a timing element. Maybe they're defined as the same way to receiving the pass with not just your hands, but with the rest of your body. There's a timing element to receiving it and then making your next play instead of just stopping it and breaking the egg like you have in the Mighty Ducks movies. There's a timing, there's a coordination with controlling a hard pass. That way it doesn't make a sound when you receive it, both on your backhand and your forehand. Also doing it on your backhand, like receiving it there, that's an element of coordination also. So maybe you're developing those specific coordination. In which case, why don't you just practice the things itself? If we take the corkscrew as another skating example and further example to this, you skull from side to side, but I have to move my body this way and then this way. Everything has to coordinate together. Everything has to work together. As you notice here, my upper body twists, my lower body twists, my hands synchronize with my feet as I go from side to side. Even if I'm doing it stationary, there's an element of coordination. If I were to do fast stick handles, like, I have to coordinate there to there or there to there. If I'm not even moving the puck, like if I'm just waving it back and forth, there's a coordination that I need to have with my hand in relation to the stick and in relation to the puck. So why not just practice stick handling if you're going to improve your coordination? If we were to do the same thing for shooting, then I'm sure you're getting the picture by now. There's a timing, there's a coordination that you need to do with one-timers, but there's also a coordination needed to load up your shot. There's a coordination needed to shoot off of your laid side foot or your knob side foot, and there's a coordination, once again, combining the pass reception with your shot, making it basically like the Matthews catch and release. There's a coordination to there also. So why not, if you're going to work on your specific coordination, to work on that itself? Hand-eye coordination. This is an area that Joe Pavelski was really good at. I think if we were to name probably the best who isn't retired at this currently, maybe a Chris Kreider has gotten better at coordination. I think Wayne Simmons was good at that for a long time, but hand-eye coordination. You literally have to practice the thing in order to get better at it, which is honestly the same principle behind juggling. You don't get better at at all these specific things. Even throw in the HEG split squat in there. It's actually more technical than something like a backwards walking or anything like that. All of these things, you have to work on the thing itself in order to get better at it, in order to get more coordinated at it, which is an element of getting better at the thing. So why not just work on the things itself instead of just doing, to associate or correlate things like ladder drills with improved skating? All of it is a correlation and not a causation. That's the same problem that I have with fighting being necessary in hockey. It's another superstition and correlation that we think works very well, but if you look into the details of it all, there's no actual proof that it actually helps anything out. You could say that's another reason why I'm called Hockey Hacks, is that I actually look at these specific things, pinpoint the things that people are not talking about that actually produce the results, maybe even reverse engineer some movements that these players do, look at the specific standards measurably that they've set, and make that accessible to not just myself, but for everyone else. The other thing to be careful with when you're looking at the coordination stuff, and if you're trying to associate that getting better with looking at, maybe you've seen Crosby at one point or another do a ladder drill, or McKinnon or McDavid, maybe they have done it at some point. But was that the defining thing that got them better at the skills that they have now? Did McDavid's off ice stick handling thing that he was famous for when he was 13, did that coordination bring out over to his on ice stuff? We will never know, because how you define how good someone is with that thing has not been found. There is no one defining specifically how good you have to be at that drill in order for it to translate out here. So because there's not that specific information, I actually don't use it. Because there's no translation. There's no clear translation to it. Instead of a correlation, which is okay, they are great hockey players, but then they also did these drills. So it's they go up together. But here's the thing, does it actually translate over? If it were to translate over, it would be repeatable for more players. But there's a reason, again, that there's only one McDavid, there's only one Nathan McKinnon, there's only, name every other player who set standards for their movement and their hockey ability. If these drills that everyone talks about with specific coordination, if these drills that everyone talks about with general coordination, if they actually translated over, you should see way more NHLers being developed. That is simply not the case. So we're looking to fix that. And I think one way to fix that is to drop the coordination argument directly and just realize that it applies to everything that you do. So I hope this helps. Very, very much a podcast format out here, which I'm fine with, but I think you also need to see this thing as well. And this is a common cue that we need to move past also. So I want to thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. Please let me know if you have any questions, and let me know your thoughts on this too. Thanks for watching today's Hockey Hacks. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to share it with someone who you think could benefit from this. Also check out the Standard School, which is the link below, which details out every standard from skating, shooting, stick handling, strength, speed, etc., and then player specific standards like what McDavid can do, McKinnon, etc., giving you the direction you need for your hockey training. We also have A2G for hockey. On the A2G app, you can get half off your first month by clicking the link in the description. And if you would like to apply for one-on-one coaching with me directly, which would be the best alternative to seeing me in person, you can do that as well. If you would like to see me in person for hockey training, I currently work out of HKY House in Waterford, Michigan. And if you would like in-person gym training or shooting training, I have a place for that in Westland, Michigan. Thanks again for watching, and please let me know if you have any questions.